so much, Garrett. Missouri's Governor Jay Nixon is now under fire for basically convicting Officer Darren Wilson before the evidence is even in. Listen.
10 days ago, a police officer shot and killed Michael Brown in broad daylight. We have a responsibility to come together and do everything we can to achieve justice for this family. A vigorous prosecution must now be pursued. The democratically elected St. Louis County prosecutor and the Attorney General of the United States each have a job to do. Their obligation to achieve justice in the shooting death of Michael Brown must be carried out thoroughly, promptly, and correctly.
Is the governor making it impossible for police to do their jobs by playing politics and giving his opinion? Joining us now with his take is retired lieutenant of Nutley, New Jersey Police Department, Steve Rogers. Good to see you, Steve. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Ainsley.
What do you make of that, the governor giving his opinion?
Ainsley, you talk about the JV team. This is what we have happening in Ferguson. The governor of that state convicted that police officer by that statement. He's compromised the investigation. He's compromised the grand jury, and if it goes to trial, he's compromised the jury. That was outrageous.
How is this going to affect him down the road with his constituents?
Well, I got to tell you, the people of Ferguson, and I've spoken to people around the country, they're good people, all right? They want their city rebuilt. They want justice, but done the right way, due process. I think a loud and clear message is going to be sent to him next time he runs for office.
You live in New Jersey. What if the governor, Chris Christie, weighed in on something like this? Has this ever happened? Have you seen this before?
No, Chris Christie would use his head. Look, the man's a prosecutor like this governor. Christie would lay a balance that would bring people together, not tear them apart.
Right. Well, let's listen to the Missouri. There's a police officer in Missouri representing the Fraternal Order. I want to hear from him, and this is what he says about the governor weighing in. Take a listen.
I'm very disappointed to hear those words coming from Governor Nixon. We welcome a vigorous investigation. Unfortunately, justice needs to go both ways. When a police officer has to take a life, that is the worst possible thing he can do in his job. It is a very traumatic experience, and now he's facing death threats from people. His family is facing death threats, and nobody's standing up for Darren, and we have to stand up for him.
All right, Lieutenant Rogers, let's talk about being a police officer on the streets. What do you think actually happened here? Because you're hearing so many people convicting this police officer. What are your thoughts?
Look, this police officer has no disciplinary background. He's 6 years on the job. I really believe that he felt his life was threatened. I truly believe that. Now, I could be wrong, but that's the point. We don't have all the evidence. But not much has been said about the officer, his family, what he's going through. And as the FOP gentleman said, it's a nightmare for any police officer to take a life. No one's enjoying this at all.
Right. So what is he going through right now? I hope he has security around him. You know, I hope that I'm sure he feels terribly about this.
Yes, he does. I'm sure he has security, but the psychological impact on him and his family is going to be long-lasting. And that governor and that senator who made that outrageous statement that if there's no conviction or no indictment, that is going to inflame more and elevate the violence, that's horrible, because that puts that on the shoulders of many police officers around the country and the good people of Ferguson.
Right. Did they make a mistake releasing his name days later?
Yes, they did. They should have really been upfront, and I think we all agree that the process should have be transparent, get the information out there, because people assume there were cover-ups, when in fact, I believe we're going to find out there weren't any, but they needed to protect them, and I'm sure they wanted to get the facts out and not innuendo.
Maybe that will happen now that the federal government has to get involved in this state issue.
Well, I have reservations about that too, but let's see what happens.
All right, we'll have you on another time to talk about that. Thanks so much, Lieutenant Rogers. Over to you, Heather.